Hey everyone, it's Connor from Koyfin here. We've had a lot of requests from users asking how they can track Bitcoin spot ETF fund flows. So for those of you who don't know, in January of this year, 2024, the SEC approved 11 new Bitcoin spot ETFs across a range of familiar issuers such as Fidelity, BlackRock, Invesco, ARK Funds, and VanEck. Some say this was a landmark moment in modern finance, and naturally, people have been intrigued by the flows these funds have generated. Give you some context on the screen here, you can see some fund flows for some of the bigger ETFs. BlackRock's IBIT is up there and now has $5 billion after just over a month. Fidelity's ETF is chasing just behind, shy of $4 billion. And ARK's fund recently surpassed $1 billion in assets under management. Under here, you can see the daily fund flows, and we can see that as of recording yesterday, IBIT had 500 million or $500 million in fund flows in a single day, which at that point in time put this ETF in the top 7% of all ETFs by size in just 23 trading days. So you can see there's been quite a lot of demand for these products. Today, I'm going to show you how to access this data inside of Koyfin and show you how to build watch lists and dashboards to track it. But just before we do that, in a chart format like this, it's the same as any other data series or security in Koyfin. You search up the ticker like we have under here, FBTC, and you can add various fund-related data series to it. So I click on the data series here for FBTC. You can see we have some asset-specific data series for ETFs, and you can play around with these. We've got flows, shares out, discount to NAV, and you also have a bunch of market data here, such as price. Jumping over into the Watchlist tool now, we'll show you how to build a watchlist because this is going to allow you to then build a dashboard. We'll start by creating a brand new watchlist from scratch. I'll call this Bitcoin Funds. We'll go ahead and create that. The next thing I'm going to do is go to tickers, and instead of typing these in individually, I'm just going to import them by pasting them in. I'll leave a list of all of these tickers in the description below as well. So now we have our watch list. I'm going to go ahead and edit these columns so that it's more appropriate for a fund watch list. So we'll go into the column picker here. The first thing I'm going to do is just delete a few of these columns that are not relevant. And you can use the search bar here to type in things like AUM. Alternatively, you can come down into asset specific and we'll lay out all of the data series that are appropriate for ETFs. There's a bunch of things in here that you can pick, from AUM to fund flows to is it levered or not, the inception date, the issuer, the advisor, all of the stuff you'd expect from a fund. I'm going to go ahead and pick out some of the interesting ones that I want to see. So here's some of the data that I'm personally interested in. Now that we have that, we can go ahead and create a dashboard. So I'm going to show you how you can construct a dashboard like this, but just to give you an example of the finished product, you might have something that looks like this, where you have your watch list up here and you can see the flows in an itemized format and pick and choose which data you present in the charts. This is just a simple AUM over time chart, so we can see that BlackRock is leading the race so far. Over here on the left, I'm individually picking some funds to look at the daily flows, so we can see here that BlackRock with that $500 million inflow yesterday, and then we've got Grayscale's Bitcoin Trust, which has just been bleeding flows over the past few weeks. Just an FYI before we continue, we have masterclass videos in our YouTube library on advanced charting and custom dashboard creation. I'll link those in the description, so if you're interested in learning how to do these at a more advanced level and cover them in more depth than what we're going to do today, I would recommend checking those out. Build this from scratch, you're going to come to My Dashboards, or Custom Dashboards as some people like to call it. We'll click this New button here and we'll go ahead and create a brand new one from scratch. Now we have all of our components. The first thing to do is add a watch list. It's going to be positioned up here in the top right. You can move this around and stretch it if you want to, but we're fine leaving it here for now. I'm going to click this little button up here, which is going to allow me to choose a different watch list, and I'm going to choose my Bitcoin ETF watch list that we just created. So now every chart that I make is going to be based on this watch list for now. I'm going to come in here and add a chart historical graph template. Go ahead and add that component there. And we have a few choices at this point. So similarly to the watch list, if I click here, I have a range of chart templates that I've already built. So we can scroll down here and we can pick one that I built earlier, which is called Bitcoin AUM. That's just going to show a simple AUM over time. And if I come down here to this little parentheses and make the chart multiple securities like so, anytime I pick an additional security, it's going to show up on this chart here. Alternatively, if I want to build a different view, I can create another chart here. Let's drag it up and let's change this one to a simpler chart template called ETF AUM. And let's go ahead and change this to single security. And this one's just going to show me the cumulative flow and the AUM of a single fund. You see here now, both of these charts are just showing the same fund. If I want this one to show multiple and this one to show single, what to do is come up here, click this little down arrow and change this chart into a B chart. So that means it's now going to be independent from the A watch list. So I can change things in here without it affecting here. All I'm going to do is come in here and type in IBIT. And now I can see this view without impeding on this one. So here I can come down and change this to multiple security, and I can show multiple things in this chart and single things in this chart. Something else I can do as well, I can create a chart template that shows flows. So if I create another chart, I'm going to turn this one into a C chart so that it doesn't communicate with my watch list. And I'm going to come down into my chart templates and look at daily flows. And then I'm going to type in IBIT here as well. And now we have the daily flow data for IBIT. For those of you who don't know how to build a chart template, I'll quickly walk through that for you. So a chart template is a saved view of a chart that you like in Koyfin. So when you build the kind of view that you want with data series, it allows you to then replicate it for other securities. So to take an example, we have IBIT here on the data selection. If we want to take flows, for example, we can type in daily flows. So now we have that data. We can adjust this chart so that it's linear. We can change the label colors so that they match up with what we're seeing. We can also add AUM here as well. And if we want that to be shown on the top panel, we can press this merge button and then we can push this flows button down to the bottom. We can turn this AUM into an area chart if we want. And let's just say that's the view that we want to see for a bunch of securities. All we have to do at this point is save this as a chart template by clicking the save button, give it a name, and then when you've given it a name and saved it, you'll be able to pull that chart template into any of your dashboards. And when you've created a few different chart templates, you can customize the dashboard like so. The organization of the dashboard is really up to the individual. This is how I typically like to see stuff. I like to have a peripheral view of flows for a few different funds. I like to see the AUM over time. And of course, I like all of that data to be itemized in the watch list as well to give me additional context. So I hope that's been useful for you. That just about does it for this video. As always, you can reach out to us at Koyfin Charts on Twitter. You can drop a comment in the comments section below, or you can email our help desk, which is help@koyfin.com. Thank you.